So here's the MK350 Mancon compound crossbow that was kindly sent to me as an early birthday present by Nick from Blades and Bows. I've had a few things to say about these from my point of view over the years. I've always been a bit of a recurve man, and for my needs, for my purposes, for the reasons I keep a crossbow, for possible scenarios I keep a crossbow for, I've always said that these wouldn't have any place in my collection really, because of the work that would go into servicing them or repairing them in case of a breakdown. But I've assembled this one. It took me about 15 minutes. First time I've assembled a compound. It took me about 15 minutes, 16 minutes to do. I went round for a minute afterwards and made sure everything was tight. It's got some great features that I hadn't accounted for really when I've been slating them in the past. I've fitted my red dot sight to it rather than the scope that Nick sent with it, and I'll explain why a little later. But one of the things that strikes me is how well made it is. It's a lovely looking thing to begin with, and it's very, very well made. When I was putting it together, I noticed that all the tolerances were very, very near, very good, you know. You can see there, that's the anti-dry fire mechanism, which is a must on compound crossbows, as my weapons collector will tell you. The safety catch, as Liam said in his video on these, is on both sides of the bow, which is an asset, because most of the time on the Chinese bows they're only on one side, on the right side, which can be a bit awkward, you know, in the dark. It's got the onboard quiver, which I won't use for the purposes of the shooting test I'm going to do a little later. The foot stirrup, very, very sturdy, and one of the things I do like about this bow, everything is coated. It's aluminium barrel, obviously, but everything's coated in this rubberized finish. Makes it very warm and holdable. The cheek piece on the face isn't uncomfortable at all. Very warm and very comfy. This sort of ventilated butt pad, you don't see them very often on crossbows either. That's a good feature. And this section here, which is recessed into the butt itself, has got like apertures that you could use to bind stuff on, to store stuff like spare parts kits and stuff in there, and waxes, lubes, Allen keys, other little bits you need. I have had the shot with it, and the trigger is awesome. Trigger's fantastic, very, very good. Now you see there the sticker that denotes what manufacturer bow it is. A friend of mine bought this crossbow, branded under a different name, branded under the name Velocity Defiant, I think. And he paid about 400 quid for it. Getting on for 400 quid, 350, 400 quid for it, I think, for everything. And if you look, this is exactly the same bow. We've compared them side by side. And I was shooting his bow the other week. I know it's the same bow. It is exactly the same bow in every regard. But like, that one's getting on for like 350, 400 quid. And if you look how much these are selling for, Blades and Bows, you'll be as shocked and as pissed off as he was when he saw it. This is the cam system that assists that's the advantage of compound bows and bows, is the cam system, which makes it like a weird experience to draw. These are good. String buffers, dampers. They'll reduce wear and tear on the string, on the moving parts and the joints of the bow itself, and it'll also make firing a more pleasant experience, which it does. It wasn't as brutal to fire as I thought it was, to be honest. It's got a very, very long power stroke, but it looks to have, I haven't measured it in comparison to like my Jaguar yet, but it has got a very long power stroke by the look of it. One of the features I do like, the bolt clip, the bolt spring, this leaf spring here, very, very sturdy and not bare metal. coated in plastic. Very, very good. Anti-dry fire mechanism. Safety catch. So, if this wasn't a present and I'd bought it with my own hard-earned dosh, would I be happy with it? Could I find a use for it? Yes, I would be very, very happy with it. And I'm going to find a use for it, definitely. Still allowing for the fact that it would be a mofo to repair in a survival, SHTF, post-apocalypse or field scenario. I understand from Nick that there's the compound stringing kits are available from him, like very, very cheap compared to the higher mark bows. I mean, some of them like 10 points in that, you know, it's the cost of a new bow. But the price that he's told me that they're selling these for, you'd need a bow press to refit it, but I'm sure there's a way that could be circumvented, you know, it could be got around. All in all, it's a very, very well put together thing. You know, you can hardly see the joins and stuff. It's easily as good as any crossbow I've ever seen. But the compound system, new to me, alien to me. Do some shooting with it. And I'll let you know what I think. But like for what they're selling for, you know, if you're after a compound crossbow, you know, these are selling elsewhere for almost double the price. Like branded under a different name, but they are the same bow. And if I can get him, my mate hasn't got a car at the moment, but if I can get him to get up here with his, we can put them side by side at some point and show that the only actual difference between the two is like the price and this. This is a good feature, the pistol grip at the front, the foregrip, and that's attached to another good feature that I like, which is this, the weaver rail underneath, to which you can also attach like lights, tripods, bipods, stuff like that, cameras even, maybe. But this, with the push of this button, folds away. I've positioned it in this position because that's, you could move it up and down here by loosening this Allen key bolt. But I've found that that's the optimum position for me, for holding, taking standing shots. Very easy to assemble. Like I say, I'd never done one before. It's only about 15-16 minutes. All the tools came with it that you need to assemble it. Sling. Like I say, it also came with a very, very good scope. I've had a look through it. It's a very, very good scope. But with a bow like this, you want to be hitting, you know, over ranges like this. And that, incidentally, is the target bag that Nick also sent me. I'll come to that in a minute. For the purposes of the test, as I say, I won't have the onboard quiver on it. Other than like hunting in countries where you can legally hunt with a crossbow and morally hunt with a crossbow, where the game justifies it. I wouldn't need that on there all the time, because this is unlikely to ever leave the house, as people who know me know, or to leave me immediate area. But there it is, the MK350 compound bow. Let's get some shooting on. So to summarise, what I'm actually going to do, I'm going to scope it up. The red dot sight isn't really suitable for it, I've found. I've had a couple of shots and it's not really suitable for it. So I'm going to scope it up. I'm going to do some groups with it and do a later video. But to sum up, all in all, it's a very, very good thing. It's a very, very good bow. It's, having said the things I've said about them in the past and the way I've favoured recurves, for our purposes, for our projected purposes, I probably still would in a survival or SHTF scenario, but this is pretty awesome really, you know. It's very, very fast. The lock time is extremely fast, you know, and it's almost effortless to shoot. The cocking, once it gets beyond like 55-60%, is just very, very easy. It just cocks then. Once the cameras kick in, these things, once they kick in and they get past that point where they're delivering the power, it becomes very easy to cock. So it can be cocked by hand, even when, like me, you're an old bastard with a knackered shoulder. But it's an outstanding bit of kit. It's a very, very nice looking bit of kit. It's weight wise, it's comparable to about the same as my Jaguar, fully kitted. Without the onboard quiver, it's a lot less front heavy than it is with it. I've got to say that. I mean, I know they look good and they look very Darryl Dixon, you know, but it's if you're looking for something that you may have to use one day in a certain set of circumstances, maybe in the house or on your property, you don't need them. As Liam said, and we've discussed it before, Liam, like, I'd much rather have a quiver on my hip than to have an on-bow quiver, really. And I know people who've got no videos other than like computer games and no video uploads at all are gonna comment and say, oh no, you should have an on-board quiver because of this reason and that reason. But thanks for your comments in advance. Very, very good, very, very impressive piece of kit. I'm going to challenge any crossbow user really not to use, whether it's suitable for your needs or not, to use one and not be impressed by it. It's a very, very nice thing. It's a lovely looking thing as well, you know. I mean, I've always thought, looking at them in pictures and on shelves and on racks in shops and stuff, I always thought they're a bit ugly, but ergonomically as well, it's really, really nice to hold. It comes up to the shoulder really well. It's not as front heavy as I imagined it would be. I always imagined them to be like cars. They to be like the grille of a car at the front, but they're not. They're very, very well balanced overall. The length of the power stroke, which I was concerned about, doesn't really matter because it's so fast, because the lock time from shot take to impact is so fast, you know. Awesome. Very, very good bow. Probably, I mean, I'm a recurve man through and through, but like, if I'm being honest, this is probably the best bow I've ever fired, I've ever shot, really. It's I mean, if I'd worked all week or for a fortnight for it, gone to the trouble of hiding my own hard-earned money from my wife and bought it myself, would I be happy with it? Fuck yeah, definitely. It's a very, very nice thing. Taz, get one, mate.